Tonight, I feel your pain, the president tells Nigerians in a nationwide broadcast to mark the country's 62nd independence anniversary, his last as president, as he also praises citizens' resilience. Ahead of the presidential election in 2023, the convener of the platform, Pastor Poju Oyemade, leads discussions on possible solutions to Nigeria's challenges with an agenda lineup for the nation's next president. The Labour Party supporters ramp up their election awareness campaign as they take to the streets in various states across the country to drum support for the party's presidential candidate, Peter Obi. And on the foreign scene, Burkina Faso's self-declared leader accuses the man he ousted in a coup of plotting a counterattack as the country's neighbors condemn Friday's coup.
On business news tonight, Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited takes over Oando's downstream assets.
What's news tonight? Arsenal lay down marker with a dominant win over rivals Tottenham Hotspur in a North London derby at the Emirates Stadium. It's a day of deep reflections for Nigeria, the most populous black nation, as it commemorates 62 years since independence. And the president today seized the moment to express concern about the difficulties Nigerians are going through in the wake of the security and economic challenges, saying he feels their pain. In his last Independence Day broadcast as President of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari assured the citizens that their resilience and patience will not be in vain. He also addressed the 8-month-old strike embarked upon by lecturers in public universities and pleaded with ASU to call off its industrial action.
Hello, Nigerians.
It is Nigeria's 62nd independence anniversary, and traditionally, President Muhammadu Buhari marks this special day with a special broadcast to Nigerians.
With a deep sense of gratitude to God and a high level of appreciation.
He begins with an appreciation, thanking Nigerians for believing in his capacity to bequeath a prosperous nation, and then goes ahead to give an appraisal of his administration's performance in the 3 cardinal areas that formed the premise of his presidential campaign in 2015. However, he shows some empathy with Nigerians over the state of the insecurity.
I share the pains Nigerians are going through, and I assure you that your resilience and patience will not be in vain as this administration continues to reposition as well as strengthen the security agencies to enable them to deal with all forms of security challenges.
The empty classrooms across most of the nation's federal universities in the last 8 months remain a regrettable dent for the president, as he urges the Academic Staff Union of Universities to suspend their industrial action.
I must confess that I am very pained by the recurrent disruption to our tertiary education system, and I am using this Independence Day celebration to reiterate my call for the striking Academic Staff Union of Universities to return to the classroom while assuring them to deal with their contending issues within the limits of the scarce resources available.
For the first time in 20 years, the president will not have his name on the ballot papers for any election, and he urges the candidates and young people to avoid issues that can undermine the electoral process.
I want to implore all aspirants to conduct issue-based campaigns devoid of hate speeches, as well as other negative and divisive tendencies. I also want to express my wish that we see more female and youth participation in the forthcoming electoral cycle. I am sure that our teaming and the energetic youth now realize that violence generally mar elections and so should desist from being used by politicians for this purpose.
While acknowledging that Nigeria is afflicted by common global issues like rising debt burden and growing inflation, he is optimistic that his administration has laid the foundation for a great Nigeria.
But shortly after his Independence Day broadcast, the president joined other dignitaries at the Eagle Square in the nation's capital, Abuja, for other activities lined up for the anniversary. President Buhari, who was accompanied by the commander of the Guards Brigade, inspected the military parade. He was then joined at the special parade by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, former President Goodluck Jonathan, and other dignitaries.
This is the climax of the 62nd Independence Day celebration. Amidst tight security, President Muhammadu Buhari arrives to Eagle Square to attend the special parade to mark the nation's 62nd independence anniversary. This is his last as President of Nigeria.
Your Excellencies, at this juncture, Excellencies, we'll take a brief look at the profile of the very special guest.
He then proceeds to inspect the parade in his capacity as the special guest of honor.
Platoon Commander Sports, Nigerian Military College, Kaduna, 1964, of the defunct Petroleum Trust Fund, PTF, from 1999 to from 1995 to 1999, who doubles as the commander of 7.
The president returns to his seat where he joined several dignitaries, including his wife, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, the vice president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and his wife, Mrs. Dolapo Osinbajo, the secretary to the government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, Senate President, Senator Ahmed Lawan, and Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila. The parade, which started with a slow march, was spearheaded by the Nigerian Army, followed by the Nigerian Navy, the Nigerian Air Force, and the Nigerian Police. The parade soon breaks into a quick time march. Other paramilitary agencies involved in the parade include the Nigerian Prison Service, Nigerian Customs Service, Nigerian Immigration Service, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, the Federal Fire Service, the Federal Road Safety Corps, the Nigerian Legion, and National Youth Service Corps members. Precision, dexterity, and discipline were the principles exuded by students of the Nigerian Military School, Zaria, Kaduna State, as they took over the arena to the delight of the viewers and the guests. Then a cultural display showcasing Nigeria's rich cultural heritage in spite of the diverse ethnicity. The Nigerian Air Force to use the opportunity to display its preparedness to combat any form of security threat to the nation's sovereign integrity. Moments later, the president proceeds to review the parade for the last time as the officers march in reverse order. The president departs to Eagle Square, bringing the activities marking the 62nd Independence Day anniversary to an end.
And now to how the day was commemorated in other parts of the country. It's a message of hope, resilience and a bright future from governors across the northern region of the country. The parades, which saw lots of pomp and displays in most northern states, had in attendance notable leaders who shared the optimism that Nigeria will rise above its challenges.
It's time to celebrate the 62nd independence anniversary in Kwara State, north-central Nigeria, as students, members of the military and government officials are on hand to add color to the Independence Day celebration.
Gratitude to Almighty God.
The Kwara State governor urges Nigerians not to lose hope, as he believes the nation will surmount its challenges soon. He says the citizenry also has a role to play.
I hereby enjoy us to play our roles in bringing together national peace, unity, and collective growth of the nation. As the subnational of the National Federation, Kwara is working stronger on all fronts of our administrative development.
The Rangpam Stadium in Jos, the Plateau State capital, comes alive as Governor Simon Lalong receives salutes from military and paramilitary operatives during the Independence Day parade. He anchored a speech on the need for a successful 2023 general election.
We must act with utmost responsibility and caution, because despite political differences, we are all Plateau citizens and shall continue to remain brothers and sisters.
The Mahmoud Ribadu Square in Yola, the Adamawa State capital, hosted the Independence Day parade as Governor Umar Fintiri inspects a guard of honor. The governor is, however, worried that the nation is passing through challenging times.
The battles are yet for security, economic prosperity, and the security of our people. Future lies ahead and remains to be won. So many years lies ahead of us to make the future we want, starting from today. If we set forth at dawn, we make this journey before dusk.
At the Independence Day parade held at the Lafia Square in Nasarawa State, Governor Abdullahi Sule urges politicians to play the game by the rules.
I urge you to desist from political lies and blackmail and focus more on the realities of the day. We cannot encourage politics of division, rivalry, and thuggery in our own state.
A series of activities to mark the nation's Independence Day is put together in Gombe State. One of them is this town hall meeting chaired by Governor Inuwawada, where he reels out the performance of his administration.
The provision of affordable health coverage to over 100,000 residents of the state, including 40,000 poor and vulnerable under the Go Health scheme, is also ongoing.
In Katsina State, the state government is celebrating the day with physically challenged persons. 100 mobility carts are presented to persons with special needs in the state. Kano State was not left out of the celebration as residents trooped to the Sani Abacha Stadium to view the colorful parade, which also featured students from various schools in the state.
Part two after the break. In faraway United Arab Emirates, Nigerians join in marking the country's 62nd independence anniversary with discussions on the nation's branding and economic growth. That's in a moment. Do stay with us. you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our major stories. I share your pain, the president tells Nigerians in a nationwide broadcast to mark the country's 62nd independence anniversary, his last as president, as he also praises citizens' resilience. Ahead of the presidential election in 2023, the convener of the platform, Pastor Poju Oyemade, leads discussions on possible solutions to Nigeria's challenges and reels out the agenda for the nation's next president. Labour Party supporters ramp up their election awareness campaign as they take to the streets in various states across the country to drum support for the party's presidential candidate, Peter Obi. And Burkina Faso's self-declared leader accuses the man he ousted in a coup of plotting a counterattack as the country's neighbors condemn Friday's coup. Well, staying with the country's Independence Day celebrations, it was a similar showing in the southern part of the country, with messages from state executives praising the performance of government as against the expectations of the people.
The occasion of Nigeria's 62nd independence anniversary is an opportunity to celebrate the nation's achievements and for citizens to rededicate themselves to promote and defend the nation's common interests over self-interests. Governor Uzodimma disclosed this at the Rear Admiral Ndubisi Kanu Square in Owerri, the Imo State capital and venue of this year's 62nd anniversary.
62 years down the line, we've made some progress in the task of building a nation, but we have also recorded some failures. The truth is that it is not yet Uhuru for Nigeria. Therefore, this occasion of celebrating the 22nd anniversary of our independence is one we should use for sober reflections on the journey so far.
In Anambra, the Dr. Alex Ekweme Square, Awka, came alive with bright colors of uniforms of various security formations, the paramilitary, and schools. Addressing the people of Anambra, the governor remembers Queen Elizabeth II and all she stood for in Nigeria's story, even as he goes on to celebrate all who believe that a better Nigeria is possible.
Yes, we also celebrate our founding fathers, who fought and some with their blood to give us a new nation, on which we must all now fight to preserve and to grow to become the largest black nation on earth.
It was a somber mood at the Civic Center in Port Harcourt, venue of the 62nd independence anniversary and the last in the lifespan of the Nyesom Wike administration in Rivers State. After inspecting the guards and observing the traditional march past performed by the Nigeria police and some students in the state, Governor Wike says Nigeria deserves more than it has achieved.
Our country and our people deserve access to sustainable economic opportunities, a friendly business environment, stable and affordable energy, gainful employment, quality and affordable healthcare and education across all levels, an effective public transport system, food security, and a better quality of life, not the hardship, sufferings, and hopeless future of the present.
In similar vein, Governor Seyi Makinde, in his Independence Day address, notes that it may not be time to roll out the drums just yet, as the nation is still grappling with ways to achieve her full potential. Governor Makinde, who was represented by his deputy, Mr. Bayo Lawal, at the Independence Day parade at the Lake Consalami Stadium, Adamasingba, Ibadan, points out that in 62 years of nationhood, Nigeria has had a checkered history. And in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, Governor Dapo Abiodun joined other dignitaries to celebrate the nation's 62nd independence anniversary. Addressing residents at the event held at the Moshood Abiola Stadium in the state capital, the governor appreciated them for their support for his policies.
May I dear people of Ogun State, in the spirit of today's celebration, let me join us that as we celebrate this anniversary, we should continue to promote peaceful coexistence, socio-economic development, and respect for the rule of law.
The Mobolaji Johnson Arena, Onikon Stadium in Lagos, is the venue for the 62nd Independence Day Parade. The paramilitary forces are well dressed for the parade as they await the arrival of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. He immediately inspects the guard.
I want to enjoin every one of us to focus on issues and refrain from politics of division, ethnicity, bigotry, or diversity. We must respect divergent opinions and respect the fact that the beauty of democracy lies in the fact that we will not all share the same ideological and political views.
He assures the citizens of more people-oriented projects ahead of the 2023 general elections.
Well, outside the shores of Nigeria, over 5,000 kilometers away in the United Arab Emirates, Nigerians resident in that country are not left out of the Independence Day celebrations. Our correspondent Mayowa Digoke has the details.
It's the first edition of the October 1st conference, organized to bring Nigerians and friends of Nigeria together in celebrating the most populous black nation on earth.
Together, we can create a great positive perception and image of ourselves and both home and abroad. This conference will continue to hold every year, and this is just the starting point because we have a lot of work to do. And it is the point where you and I, either from Nigeria or from any other African country, will realize that we are one. As they used to say, united we stand, divided we fall.
The conference presents a rare opportunity for stakeholders in the Nigerian community here in the UAE, as well as investors, to discuss matters of nation branding and economic advancement for the community, for Nigeria, and for the African continent at large.
If I take Nigeria, for example, the music, the fashion is very strong, and that's pop culture. That's part of pop culture. What it does is it gives us very serious advantages in terms of soft power, which if properly harnessed or leveraged, can deliver in huge economic terms.
The first thing I see that can make that alliance is a simpler immigration process. Why is there no free movement between Africans in Africa? I was traveling with a colleague from Cameroon, and we were entering Ghana. I entered visa-free, and she was held back. We did not understand why, and this was information that we did not know before.
So disruptive ideas, one of the things I find with young people is we're afraid to launch out. We're afraid. Once I had the vision last year, I did the UAE Employability Summit. We had 700 attendees. We had about 15 speakers. Once I had the idea, I launched it. From that summit, a lot of jobs were got by people, a lot of things that have come out. We did a book last year, The Black and African Guide to Moving to the UAE. We did a launch event, we did a lot. So every time I had a disruptive idea, I am not afraid to launch it. That is one thing that a lot of young people fail to do.
And from conversations, Nigerian creatives get the spotlight to showcase their works. A cake is cut as the celebration of Nigeria at 62 continues. Well, if you're one for science, take this as one that shows that Nigerians resident in the United Arab Emirates are ready to be more intentional about their presence in the country. From Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, Mayowa Digoke for Channels Television.
Back home, the founder of the Covenant Nation, Pastor Kwadwo Yemade, and convener of the platform, has put forward 5 possible solutions for whomever wins the 2023 presidential election. He says the candidate elected for the presidential seat should form a government of national unity, make efforts to restore the people's confidence, and for the legislature, it must drive the constitutional reforms for a better nation, amongst others. He was speaking at the 15th anniversary of the platform held at Marriott Hotel, Ikeja, Lagos.
We decided to look for a theme that will address the issues in the nation clearly, but clearly avoid turning the event into a platform for any form of political campaign or secretly pushing a partisan ideology. The theme is a better Nigeria is possible. Why, what, and how. What the next leadership should look out for. The vision is to present ideas and thoughts that will be useful to those pursuing political offices that they can run with and use in shaping policy. In this, we are presenting thoughts that the next leadership can look at. Number 1, whoever gets elected on February 25th must paint a clear-cut vision for the country that can be sold to the citizenry about how Nigeria will look clearly in years to come and the position she will occupy among the Committee of Nations. A very clear and precise vision that is understandable to all. Number 2, whoever wins should form a government of national unity. What I mean is to go beyond the confines of your political party to select talents that will send an all-inclusive message to everyone. Number 3, restore the greater confidence, restore greater confidence between those who are governed and the political leadership by giving specific time frames in which certain things will be done, be it within the first 3 months, within the first 6 months, and within a year. 4th is bringing the youth into governance in visible positions. Understanding, like I said, the way politics works, they don't have the financial might to make the contributions that might earn them a seat at the table. But this must be consciously done to restore confidence into people. And then lastly, I can't speak too much about this, but the legislative arm is probably the most important arm of government in a democratic institution. And we need them, therefore, to drive the constitutional reforms without which the executive arm is hamstrung.
Earlier on, while declaring the event open, Pastor Kwadwo Yemade touched on the role the platform has played in shaping ideas for the nation's development. And indeed, the call for a better Nigeria took the front burner at the platform's 15th anniversary, as other speakers also addressed the crucial issues that the next government should focus on to move the country beyond its current challenges.
Renewal, therefore, is the responsibility of leadership.
In this room are distinguished men and women. They're all united by one thought, the need for a better Nigeria. The convener, Pastor Kwadwo Yemade, formally opens the event and takes us down memory lane on how the journey of the platform started.
The platform started in 2007, and the first event was in Excusez-moi back then, and it began to grow, so we had to move it, I think, within the 3rd edition to the Tafawa Balewa Square. At the Tafawa Balewa Square, it grew to about 19 to 20,000 people in attendance.
The speakers have been consciously chosen to speak according to their convictions.
Please join me as we welcome once again to the platform Professor Ehosa.
First on the lineup is the Director General of the Institute of International Affairs, Professor Ehosa Osage, who believes there is no longer going to be a revolution but a renewal of the Nigerian state.
We have to address, issues that will take us out of where we are and take us steadily to where we want to be with great confidence. And I want to suggest to us today that what we are doing would involve a reconceptualization of the country that we're in, meaning that we have to have new narratives and counter-narratives, if you like. We have to have a reimagined Nigeria. We have to have a new dream. We have to have a new future, a more assured future, but a better future that all of us can be part of.
The country director of DAI, Dr. Joe Abba, is next. He is more proverbial and sarcastical of his analogy of Wazobia and expectations of the next president come 2023. He dwells on the challenges of the Nigerian constitution and ways to fix it.
Many have asked Eze Mo to tell them to consult the gods and tell them who will become the next Eze of Wazobia. Eze Mo has not yet consulted the gods. He no longer accepts schnapps and white fowl. Wazobia is more divided than it has ever been. Eze Wazobia must go back to the National Conference of 2014 or convene his own if for any reason he doesn't like the outcomes of that conference, but we must talk.
Veteran broadcaster and communication strategist Dr. Victor Ladokun believes a better Nigeria is possible if we make the right choices.
So the question once again is, what does Nigeria need from the next president in 2023? I am sure there are 1,000,001 things. However, there are 3 basic things by all means possible. This will require boldness, clarity of mind, intellect, the ability to build a winning team from day one, the capacity to bring along others through the power of communication, transparent accountability within the executive, legislative, and judicial arms of government, and radical reforms within the civil service.
The issues of deficit and leadership and unbridled corruption in the country is addressed by media entrepreneur Kedaria Ahmed.
If in May you happened to be in the Indonesian city of Malang during the Muslim Eid festival, you would have seen Muslims flock to the backyard of a Catholic church, which is located right next to the city's Grand Mosque, flocking there to say their Eid prayer. This quid pro quo of harmonious religious existence exemplifies Indonesia's national motto, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, meaning unity in diversity and culture. We must come together if we're ever going to be a nation. Nigeria cannot and will not fulfill its promise until we are all one and traveling together.
Transformation strategist Mrs. Alera Aida Otobo says awakening of a new Nigeria is key. She urges all to leave their comfort zones and make Nigeria a better place.
Every one of you in this room is a flame. And when we join forces, we become an inferno. And we become a consuming fire that will consume 3 things: corruption, injustice, and wrongdoing. So, every one of you, let the words that have been spoken today cause a significant shift in you. Then we're doing the 3rd thing that I'm going to do on this platform. I'm going to release a new sound over Nigeria. An awakening sound, because it is time to arise. It is time to stop making excuses. It is time to stop sitting and hoping other people will do the hard work. And everything that we have said that will come down, let's come down. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
The need to have leaders with capacity and ability to communicate are some of the qualities the former executive chairman of the CEO of Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, Dr. Sam Amadi, identified.
But I think that we should look for the leader
who understands. It doesn't matter the pedigree, where it's coming from. It may be a former thief who has repented. It may be a saint. It doesn't matter. But that leader must say that we have come to a point where we have to look at our problem and say that there's something foundationally wrong we have to fix.
But for author and iconoclast Mr. Kunle Soriyo, Nigeria needs wisdom and intelligence to know the options that exist and the ones to embrace to make informed decisions on governance.
And so one of the greatest things we've lost as a people is that the white man came here. And I don't mean the white man of 2022. I don't mean the white man of the 2000s at all. I don't even mean the white man of the 21st century. But the white man in our history, the white man of slave trade, the white man of colonialism, came here, took away our education, and gave us the classroom. And the classroom has become a major deal. All kinds of enterprises are happening because of the classroom, right? So we need to prioritize education. We need to emphasize education above academics.
The words have been spoken, the options laid bare. It's only left to be seen how the dream of a new Nigeria is realized in the coming democratic dispensation.
God bless you.
Well, elsewhere, supporters of the Labour Party marched the Independence Day quite differently as they marched the streets of some state capitals to drum support for the party's presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, and his running mate, Yusuf Datti. Channels Television correspondents who monitored the rally in Lagos, Abia, Kaduna, Akwa Ibom and Edo reports that the gathering saw a large turnout of supporters and were peaceful.
Supporters of the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi make good their vow to hold the biggest rallies in various parts of the country to show their support for the candidate. They converge on various places, dancing, chanting songs, waving flags and banners with different inscriptions to show solidarity to the man they think is fit to lead the country from 2023. In Lagos, members of the Obi Datti movement kick off their walk from Admiralty Junction, moving through major roads in Lekki.
We are obedient to Nigeria. We are obedient to Peter Obi. Come 2023, we all have our PVCs. Peter Obi will be elected the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for the good of Nigeria.
Next, they move towards Jakonde, Elegushi axis in an apparent move to avoid any confrontation with the police already stationed at the Lekki toll gate. In another part of Lagos, Festac Town in Amuwo-Odofin local government area, the LP supporters are out in their numbers. After over 5 hours of work through major roads, the supporters converge on Apple Junction, chanting solidarity songs in support of the Labour Party presidential candidate.
We are supporting a better Nigeria, a new Nigeria, and Peter Obi is the hope of every youth. We are here for a change. We just want to liberate Nigeria. We have suffered enough. We want to take our Nigeria back.
Aba, the commercial center of Abia State, is a rallying point for supporters of the Obi Datti movement in the state. The obedience in Benin City are not left out in the Solidarity March as they walk the streets in support of the candidate. And in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital, it's a massive turnout of Obi Datti supporters. Up north in Kaduna, the Obi Datti supporters also come out in their large numbers. The rally, according to the conveners, is to garner more support for the presidential candidate ahead of next year's general elections.
politics, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, is asking Nigerians to trust the PDP again to provide better governance for the country. Well, he stated this in Gombe State during the commissioning of the PDP campaign secretariat there. Well, he says the party may have made some mistakes in the past, but it is ready to correct them and will, among other things, focus on reuniting Nigeria and transforming the economy.
Supporters of the People's Democratic Party in Gombe State defy restriction order at the Gombe airport to catch a glimpse of Mr. Atiku Abubakar as he alights from his private plane. The first port of call for the PDP presidential candidate is a wedding ceremony at the palace of the Emir of Gombe, where he is welcomed by a mammoth crowd. Away from the palace of the Emir of Gombe, Mr. Atiku Abubakar commissions his presidential campaign office in Gombe amidst another crowd of supporters who cheer him on. Back at the airport, Mr. Atiku Abubakar expresses his delight at the reception he got in Gombe State as he assures Nigerians that his party, the PDP, is set to change the course of things, while also assuring of his effort to reunite aggrieved members of the party.
PDP is a very popular party. It's the oldest party in Nigeria. We might have made mistakes in the past, and we have realized we made mistakes, and we are ready to correct those mistakes, and we believe Nigerians will trust us because they have seen our performance before, and they can compare our performance and the performance of our opponents. So I think that's what I am still talking to aggrieved members of the party, and I believe at the end of the day we are going to get united.
The PDP stalwarts in Gombe State are optimistic of victory for Mr. Atiku in the 2023 polls.
Gombe is fully loaded for Atiku, fully loaded for Atiku. Atiku is, I can tell you, Atiku is, conservatively, Atiku is going to get 90% of the votes. 90%. Quote me anytime, any day, anywhere. 90%. Gombe is fully prepared.
His coming here has really proved that he is most accepted among all the other contestants, especially in this part of the country.
In the days ahead, campaign activities are expected to commence in earnest, and for Mr. Atiku Abubakar, this show of support by residents of Gombe State is heartwarming. Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party, Senator Adolphus Wabara, is assuring members of his party that the crisis within the party would soon be resolved. Speaking after a closed-door meeting with the party's vice presidential candidate, Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State at the State Governor's Lodge in Abuja, Senator Wabara says the BOT, which is leading the Consultations and Reconciliation Committee, is planning to meet with the party's presidential candidate, Mr. Atiku Abubakar, and later Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State. He adds that the committee will also meet some of the governors. And now for the latest business stories on the news at 10, here's Anne Owawado.
Thank you, Kayode. Hello and welcome to Business News. Let's begin in the oil and gas sector. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has acquired the downstream assets of OVH, effectively making it the biggest downstream company in Africa. The energy company is behind the Oando retail brand right here in Nigeria. The acquisition was announced in Abuja during the unveiling and rebranding of one of the retail stations. Speaking at that event, the Group Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Mele Kyari, says the acquisition is to strengthen the downstream business portfolio to enhance profitability and guarantee national energy security.
Thank you for approval. With this. It is absolutely not about assets, it's about people. We are building new relationships. We are building a new family. We are enlarging a big family that we know that ultimately, as of today, at this moment, we are the largest downstream company in the country. By this acquisition, by this merger, that's what we want to call it, we are also very likely to be the largest downstream company in Africa. And therefore, for us, this is a vehicle for ensuring that we deliver on the energy transition goals of our country and of our company. We will use this vehicle to deliver LPG into the markets, CNG into the market, and also our very poor members of our communities who are now relying on biomass to cook. 70% of our people don't have access to clean cooking fuel. This is an opportunity for us to latch on this privilege and this circumstance to expand this and make it easy for our country people. We will deliver value to each of our stakeholders. We will guarantee energy supply through this medium and through this vehicle. We will make money for NNPC because this is a very profitable business. And more than anything else, I will say that NNPC is embracing the big family that is in the OBH. We will integrate it with our existing businesses that are ultimately the competencies that we have in NNPC. No doubt, we have advantages that OBH didn't have. We have experiences that you did not have. We also have capacities that are not in OBH. So we'll bring all this into place so that we'll have one large downstream company that will work for all of us.
Talking about Nigeria's forex reserves, it has continued its downward movement as it fell further by $178.56 million week on week to $38.28 billion as at September the 29th. That drop in the country's external buffer is largely attributed to low crude oil production level and elevated PMS under recovery costs. Meanwhile, some analysts believe the further adjustments in the Naira-dollar peg closer to its fair value and flexibility in the exchange rate will be significant in attracting foreign inflows into the market. Trading activity at the forex market was mostly negative this week. The total turnover of transactions carried out at the FX sports, forwards and futures markets fell by 17.3% to about $864.7 million as at September the 30th. Meanwhile, a breakdown of trading results shows that the total value of transactions at the I&E window rose by 16.08% to $563.04 million, while transactions at the FX derivatives market fell by 46.18% to $301.69 million. Also, the value of the Naira fell by 0.33% to 437 Naira 5 kobo against the dollar at the NAFEX window compared to 435 Naira 62 kobo, which was recorded last week. And now to the equities market, where cautious trading dominated the local bourse this week. In line with analysts' expectations, the all-share index ended the week on a negative note at 49,024.16 points. But activity levels were positive. Trading volume and value increased by 78.5% and 10.3% week-on-week across all sectors. The industrial goods and oil and gas indexes advanced, while the consumer goods, insurance and banking sectors all declined. Multiverse mining and exploration topped the gainers chart, while NIMET recorded the most significant loss, down 10.26% week to date. The financial services sector drove market volume and value this week as Jais Bank, GTCO and Zenith Bank all made it to the top 3 on the trades list. Meanwhile, NASDAQ Unlisted Securities Exchange Index closed the week on a positive note. The securities index climbed more than 1.5%, with about 16 billion naira recorded and added to the market capitalization. However, volume and value of stocks traded fell significantly. For volume, it declined by 97% to about 570,000 units, while value dropped to about 52 million naira from 151 million naira traded last week. Central Securities Clearing System topped the gainers chart this week, followed by Nest PLC and Friesland Campina Wamco, while Niger Delta Exploration and Production PLC was the sole loser. Meanwhile, Niger Delta Exploration and Production PLC and Nest were among the top 5 stocks traded by volume this week. And that's business news for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's back to you, Kayode.
Well, thank you, Anne. We'll begin in the English Premier League, where Arsenal are maintaining their position at the summit as an outstanding display overpowered Tottenham Hotspur in the North London derby at the Emirates Stadium. Elsewhere, Leandro Trossard scored a hat-trick as Brighton marked new coach Roberto De Zerbi's debut with a hugely entertaining draw against Liverpool. Conor Gallagher's first goal for Chelsea helped the Blues snatch a stoppage-time 2-1 win over Crystal Palace. And Miguel Almiron scored twice, and Callum Wilson netted on his return from injury as Newcastle United hit 4 past Fulham at Craven Cottage. Everton scored twice in a game for the first time this season as they came from behind to beat Southampton. Gianluca Scamacca's first goal set West Ham United on their way to a comfortable victory over Wolverhampton Wanderers. Well, the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development has constituted an interim committee to manage the Nigeria Professional Football League. The former Director General of the National Sports Commission, Benga Elegbeleye, will head the committee, while former Rangers General Manager Davidson Omi will serve as head of operations. Other prominent members of the committee include former Super Eagles forward Daniel Amokachi, Kole Shaname, Paul Bazzi and Calvin Emeka. The ministry says the decision is in line with the 10-year football master plan approved by President Muhammadu Buhari.
The biggest prize for a team who've...
Well, Akwa Ibom State Governor Udom Emmanuel has reaffirmed his commitment to sports development in the state. And Governor Emmanuel said the new 18,000-seater stadium in Eket will enhance the state's talent discovery efforts and the economic development of the state. Some of the features and facilities of the new stadium include artificial grass football pitch, tartan tracks and car park.
After years of painstaking effort, work is now complete on the newly built 18,000-seater stadium in Eket, Akwa Ibom State. The eagerly anticipated commissioning of the facility finally takes place.
This Eket Township Stadium was constructed by His Excellency Mr. Udom Emmanuel, Governor of Akwa Ibom State, and commissioned by His Excellency Alhaji Abubakar Sani Bello, the Governor of Niger State, on this blessed day of September the 30th, 2022.
Thank you very much. Can we please put our hands together for His Excellency, the special guest of honor, as he unveils the flag.
Thank you very much, Minister Bobby Friga.
Special guests, dignitaries, political appointees, indigenes of Akwa Ibom State and journalists all graced the occasion.
I thank His Excellency for doing this for the youths of Akwa Ibom State. It is post-construction. With this stadium in place, the youth of Akwa Ibom will have a venue to be able to display their natural talents in the field of sports. Our dear Governor, we will live to remember you for what you have done.
Popular gospel artist Mercy Chinwo lights up the event with her performance.
Put your hands up, put your hands up. Let me see you.
The Akwa Ibom State government hopes the facility will enhance the discovery of more talents.
You see, the only difference between Serena Williams and any other child from Ona is the facilities and the exposure. And I say so that we are going to create that enabling environment.
As part of the week-long activities to mark the 35th anniversary of the creation of the state, a novelty football match between the Akwa United Football Club and Katsina United Football Club is played. No doubt the new Eket Stadium will provide an alternative for sports lovers in the state to follow their passion.
What can be done with it? And it is
Back to the nation's Independence Day celebrations. Leading presidential candidates today reiterated the need to fix Nigeria as the country celebrates its 62nd Independence Day anniversary. Bola Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress, Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party, and Peter Obi of the Labour Party made this known in separate statements. According to Peter Obi of the Labour Party, many Nigerians are frustrated and tired of the many years of leadership failure. He, however, expressed optimism that Nigeria has the hope of unfettered development, growth and greatness. On his part, the candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, said the celebration of Nigeria's Independence Day is a solemn reminder that we must fix the issues that continue to compromise our national unity. He says when we do this, the country will invariably fix issues that upset our peace and security. And for the APC's presidential candidates, the 2022 Independence Day anniversary is a time for all Nigerians to recommit themselves to unity. In his words, this anniversary of our independence offers us the opportunity to take stock of how far we have come as a nation and how far we must go to achieve a better nation. And now to the foreign scene, where Burkina Faso's self-declared leader says the man he ousted a day ago in a coup is plotting a counterattack. Colonel Ibrahim Traoré has also accused the French army of harboring Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Demba at one of their bases, which French diplomats have denied. Gunshots have been heard in Burkina Faso's capital city, Ouagadougou, and helicopters are circling overhead. Witnesses say troops have blocked main roads around the city, and shops that had opened earlier are now shut. And the main news again, the president today addressed Nigerians to mark the country's 62nd independence anniversary, his last as president. In the nationwide broadcast, President Buhari said he shared the pain Nigerians are experiencing due to the challenges facing the country and praises the citizens for their resilience. And that's the news at 10 for tonight, everyone. Thank you for watching. I am Kayode Okikile. Good night. And once again, happy Independence Day.